Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Vintage Day on day 28. I've dressed Lottie in a beautiful vintage, I don't know what you would call it. I suppose you would call it a dress. It's like a gown because it's quite long. And I think back in the day, back in the day they used to call them gowns. So let's call it a gown. It's not really a sleeping gown though. It's a going out gown. And before I start, I'll just let you know that it was Laurie from Nana's Reborns and Nana's Nursery and Reborns. Oh, I'm sorry, Laurie, that's silly. And also from Carrie from Carrie's Little Cuties, who asked for a vintage outfit and vintage accessories. So that's what we've got here. So it's what day is it? Tuesday morning, and I'm going out with Jen this morning. My head's a lot better, which is so wonderful. So we're actually going to an outdoor cafe for the first time that I've been out like that since March. So 8 months I haven't been to a cafe at all, indoor or outdoor. But the one we're going to has got an outdoor area, so that's where we're going. And it's much cooler today. It's beautiful. It's around, I think, around 70 degrees in your money here. So it's just, oh my goodness, I tell you, yesterday was stinking hot. Thank goodness I didn't have to go outside very much. That's today. We're actually even going to go into a supermarket, which I also haven't done since before March. I just need a couple of things, and I thought, well, while we're out, we may as well do that too. There's virtually no virus here in the whole of Australia. We've just had a little outbreak in South Australia, in Adelaide, which is the capital city, and there are 17 people who've been infected. But because we do contact tracing with every case that's found, and people are tested all the time. They put themselves forward for testing, let's put it that way. There aren't people who come around and knock on your door and make you get a test. We go for tests if we have any inkling that there's anything wrong. And then we do contact tracing, so they check on everybody who's been in contact with that person who's tested positive, and so they can follow where the virus has gone, keep all those people in quarantine, which is what you can't do when people are just going out en masse. You don't know who they've been in contact with, which is why things spread so fast in America and also in England. Well, in the UK, I shouldn't just pinpoint England, but in the UK, if you don't quarantine yourself when you're sick and get a test, you will spread it to hundreds of people, which is what's been happening. Anyway, aside from all that, it's fine for me to go into a supermarket. That's all I was saying. We're not going to spend a great deal of time there, so there's virtually zero risk. There's never absolutely zero risk because you just don't know, but hopefully it should be fine, and I'm so looking forward to it. I don't think I'd like to do it on my own, but it's fun to do it with someone, because then, I'm distracted and I'm not sort of trying to avoid every human being on the planet, and it should be, I think it's going to be fun. Anyway, sorry everybody, back to the drawing board. So here we have my Lottie, who is the Mary Ann sculpt by Natalie Blick. She is my chosen baby for the 30-day challenge, which was set by Teresa of Baby Steps Reborn Treasures. And I've just loved doing the whole challenge. It's been great. Today was even more fun because I went through my vintage things. I chose this little dress or gown, whatever we want to call it, just because I just love the simplicity of it, and I love the little touch of pale blue. I had other options, but making choices is sometimes tricky, isn't it? Anyway, it came down to this little gown, which I think is probably from the 1950s. Now, it's a white, as you can see, but it's that kind of funny slippery material. It's not a natural fibre. It's or maybe it is. I don't know, but it's I can't describe it. It's sort of stiff and sort of slippery is all I can think to call it. But it has some just 4 rows of smocking across the top, but there's no embroidery on top of the smocking. It's got little puff sleeves with lace trim, and around the neck there is machine embroidered pale blue scallop lines, making it look as though there's a collar, but there isn't. And then in the middle there are just 2 pale blue embroidered, machine embroidered again, bows. And then look at this across the bottom. It's just got a little piece across the middle. Let me see if I can show you properly. There we go. Can you see that? Just from there to there, it's got the pale blue scallop along the hemline, and then a little bow just in from one end and in from the other end. And I just think it's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. If I pull it right down, you'll see how long it is, which I think is how babies used to have their clothes, their proper going out clothes. See, there's no little feet anymore. That's how long it is. But because I added her special little shoes and socks, with the shoes are vintage style. They're not actually vintage shoes, but they're vintage style, in very pale blue leather. I think they're gorgeous. They're the standard sort of style of baby shoes that they used to have then. And then I added some little socks underneath just for fun. And then on top she's wearing a white fine knit bonnet, and it is not actually a vintage item either. It is a new one, but it has a vintage look about it. So I hope that's acceptable, Carrie, for the accessories. And then I added this sweet doll just to say hello to you, and because she is a vintage style doll. Well, she's probably a vintage doll, but she's not original. She's a what do you call them when they're made from a mold? From greenware, I think it's called. So I don't know anything about that stuff, but you can get these dolls original. This is the girl one, and she's called the She-Bee, and there's a boy one who's called the He-Bee, and they were made by Horseman. I'm not sure what date, and they're really cute. So I've got these that's the word I was looking for, reproduction ones. I haven't got the originals, but there you are. That's Lottie today for Vintage Day. Hope you like what I chose. There wasn't the other option that I did have other vintage dresses, but I love this one the most, so I went with this dress. But I did also have a vintage, very, very old, like probably it's probably 100 years old now, knitted dress and jacket set. But it's, I don't know, it's the colour of it is, I don't know if it was ever a different colour, but it's sort of I don't know how to describe it. It's not brown. It's not nicotine stained colour, but it's a bit like that. It's just aged wool, very fine knit, beautiful thing. I'll put it on Lottie one day when, just in general. I think that's what I'll do to show you how she looks in it and what it looks like. It had lots of holes in it because it's so old, but my friend Dawn at the Doll Club did a fabulous job on it. I'd already washed it, soaked it, did all that, and she mended it for me, so it's gorgeous. And okay, that's a good idea. In a future video I'll put it on Lottie. So my friends, there she is. I hope you like what you see. This is my little vintage girl today. And tomorrow I'll be dressing her in something that Lynn from My Bella Blessing asked for, which is so much fun. So I'll put together something for Lynn. And then I think we'll be on to the final day, won't we? Yes, I think we will. Let me just see, because today's 28, isn't it? Yeah. So day 30 I will be putting Lottie in her christening gown, which I bought before she was finished. Fabulous bargain. Anyway, I usually just put it on her for Christmas, but now I'll put it on her for day 30 to celebrate the end of the challenge. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much for visiting me, for your comments and for your support. It's just been brilliant. So thank you so much. And I'll see you tomorrow. Yes, I will. And I'll report back on my big adventure of today. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Bye-bye.